Have you ever walked into the kitchen at night, opened the pantry, and thought, wait, I'm not even hungry? Because so often we're not actually hungry for food. We're overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're lonely, we're exhausted, or honestly, we're just bored. So today I'm going to talk about this acronym that I learned during a parenting training. And I recently just heard it again on another podcast. So this is something that you can use for yourself or for your kids if they're having a hard time. And this just really stuck with me when I think about health and I talk to my clients. So stay tuned so you can hear this acronym to help you with eating. And just a real quick side note, if you're wanting more support with healthy habits, meals, feeling better overall, I'm part of a free wellness resource bundle right now. And even though this says gluten-free, there's actually a lot of resources that anyone can use, from meal ideas to wellness support and even habit tools. So there's going to be a link in the description that you guys can check out. And these resources will go through till Friday this week. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mama of 4 and military wife. And I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here. So lace up those shoes and get moving. So a lot of times when we're eating, it's not even about hunger. So maybe it's the snacks that you're having in the eating, the stress eating, the reward eating because you did something well or you made it through the week, or just the boredom eating. Food has become a go-to for everything and for all those emotions or feelings we have or that we are ignoring. Right? So some examples, we have a hard day, we grab a snack. Our kids are finally asleep, we take a treat. We feel overwhelmed, so we just go through the drive-thru. We're bored, we just start wandering into the pantry. So this little acronym that I learned is called HALT. So HALT. And so I was doing an adoption training. So my husband and I are considering adopting a child from foster care. So a child who has already had their parental rights signed away, so they're up for adoption. It is a slow process, so I have no idea what's going to happen with it. But you have to go through some pretty thorough training to do this. So this was one of the acronyms that they give to help use if a child is having a hard time or showing a lot of emotions. So the H stands for hungry. So are we actually hungry? Like, right? Maybe we have skipped meals. Maybe we haven't had enough protein and fiber, so we're feeling more hungry. Have we underate the day before? Right? So legitimately asking yourself if you are actually hungry. So, right, this may lead to like, yes, I am legitimately hungry, or no, I am not. And especially for busy women, a lot of times this answer can be, no, I'm not hungry. Especially when we get into that more emotional eating. So the H stands for anger. And we can also think of like stress or frustrated here, right? Maybe our spouse changed our plans and we're feeling frustrated. We have work stress. Maybe our kids are fighting and we're feeling frustrated. Maybe we're stuck in traffic and we're feeling angry, or we're just feeling unappreciated, right? And just remember, if you've been listening to the podcast, our thoughts are creating our feelings. Right? So if we have the thought, this always falls on me, maybe I feel unappreciated. Maybe I feel overwhelmed just by thinking about that thought. No one helps me. Or I can't handle one more thing. So we're feeling that anger or that stress and our frustration. And right, sometimes that leads us to eat and we're not even hungry. So it's really taking a look at some of those emotions that you might be having. And a lot of times, I was just talking with clients about this today, right? They can't change their situation, but they can start changing the way they're thinking about it, which leads to feeling about it differently. And it's really amazing how when we can start to shift our thinking, how we're in that exact same situation, but once we shift our thinking, it changes how we're feeling. and we can change how we're feeling, it changes how we act. Because sometimes we're really seeing a really narrow truth and we're not seeing the full truth of a situation, right? We start to focus in on things and we start to look for more things that will agree with whatever we're thinking. But when we can start to shift those thoughts, things can feel lighter. All right, so we have H, hungry, A, angry, or I also like to put stressed and frustrated in there. L is lonely. And this one can be huge sometimes, but it's often more hidden or even harder to admit, right? So maybe your spouse is busy. My spouse has been really busy the last few months and he's gone on training right now. And I have felt this way. I have felt that loneliness, right? Because we're a military family and we've only been here a year. So we have some friends, but we don't have any deep, strong roots. So this feeling of loneliness can creep in. And even just in this age of social media, it's easy to be looking on social media and feel like we're connecting, but really deep down, we feel disconnected and we don't have that in-person connection, those more deeper emotional connections and empathy from people. So sometimes we are reaching for comfort because we're feeling lonely in the form of food. But we don't need to fix feeling lonely with food, right? If we can have tools to feel that loneliness and then to move forward, to see the whole truth of the situation, to decide what we want to do, what we would actually need to feel better, we can do that. So when we take time to acknowledge the feeling, right? Because feeling lonely isn't necessarily bad, but sometimes it's a feeling we can try to ignore. When we can acknowledge it and then think, what do I actually need? So for me, one thing that I actually did, so we live about 30 minutes from the base, so I never go down there. I really haven't made any military spouse friends here. So I've made friends either through our neighbors or a church. But I'm like, I would really like to be connected with some military spouses. So there's a Facebook page for the group. And then I asked, hey, I know a lot of military people live in the area that we do. So I'm like, I know there has to be other people out there too. And so I asked people if other people wanted to get together, and a lot of people responded, and we had a meetup. So, right, I was able to feel that emotion, and this can be any emotion. I was able to feel that emotion, be okay with that emotion, and also like, what do I want to do about this? And do something productive. So instead of either repressing it and it still festers there, or instead of grabbing food or being stuck in it, I was able to move forward and do something that feels good. All right, so the last letter, the T, is tired. And this can be a big one for women over 40. And even with this tired, I think overwhelmed is also a big one, right? Just because this sense of overwhelmed can make us feel tired. So maybe that lack of sleep, that mental exhaustion, that decision fatigue, the overstimulation, feeling like you have too much on your to-do list, right? So when we're feeling that tired, that overwhelmed, it can be really easy to grab for food. It's like a quick fix, right? Especially if it has carbs or sugar in it, it gives you that little bit of boost that picks you up, but it doesn't really solve the problem long term. So again, just like with my last example, like what are some of their emotions? Like what's going on? And then what can we do to make a plan going forward? All right, so we have that acronym. So I want you to think when you're grabbing for something is to halt first. Ask hungry, H, am I hungry? Am I feeling A, angry or stressed or frustrated? L, am I feeling lonely? T, am I feeling like tired or overwhelmed? And really being able to just do a quick scan, because so many times we're just on autopilot. And if we can really pause to be a little introspective and see what's going on, we're able to make different decisions. And guys, I really want to encourage you to move to this, I like this phrase of being in choice. So our goal isn't perfection. It's really just being aware of what you're doing and being in choice with what you want to do and what your goals are and what that future is that you want. Because we can do things differently. We are not powerless. We are not victims to the food that's in front of us, the food that's at a restaurant, or to commercials around us. We can choose differently. And I feel like so many people don't feel empowered and they don't feel like they have choice. But we do. We do have to figure out how to get there, and we have to do things differently. But I think even just planting that idea in your mind that you can do things differently, maybe you don't know how to yet, but you can. You're not powerless. You're not a victim to the food or the environment you're in. We all have different patterns, and change really takes practice, and it's really looking into your unique situation and your personality, your habits that you have, and to do something different going forward, because we are not powerless. And I also want you to think of this, because sometimes we get stuck in this where we don't really make a choice. But when we're actually not making a choice or doing something different, we're actually making a choice and we're staying stuck in that same cycle. So if it's like, I don't know what to do, you are making a choice to stay stuck wherever you are. Because a lot of times it's easy to see where we're making a choice or we choose something. But I want you guys to also think of, is there something I'm not choosing or I'm not doing? And know that that is a choice that you are making too. And you have the ability to change that, because we can learn new patterns. We can start taking a pause and doing a quick reflection. We can start to figure out and ask for what we really need. And we can choose differently. So I really want you guys to remember this. You are not powerless around food. You may have patterns, you may have habits, and you may have emotional triggers. But you can learn to pause and ask yourself, HALT. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? You can learn to understand yourself better, and you can learn to choose differently. And if you're listening and thinking, I know these patterns that I have, but I keep struggling and I don't know how to change them. And that's exactly where coaching can help. And recently I had a client share how grateful she is for my practical tips and things for her to do, because she's been working with someone before and she sort of gets to the end of the session and she's not sure what to do going forward. So even in these episodes, you guys hear me, we need to have that practical thing that we can do, even if we're working on some of this deeper emotional stuff. So sometimes we need support. Sometimes we need accountability. And sometimes we just need someone to help us slow down enough to see what's really going on underneath the habits. So if that's you and you know the missing piece is that you might need to get a little extra help. And for some people, it might just be for a couple months. Some people, it might be longer. But you can set up a free health coaching call with me to see if we're a fit. And we can start to talk through what support you might need and what some of those changes that might be helpful for you. And I always offer a 10% discount to military and to police and to the nurses and med techs. So just mention that to me on the call. All right, friends. So if you need some extra support or you're feeling stuck, just reach out.